The small transport ship moved slowly through space toward the blue and green planet below. Inside, 12 young aliens sat quietly, looking out the windows with wide eyes. They had never seen a world like this one before. Zix looked through the clear wall of the ship. His body was made of crystal that sparkled in the light. He watched the planet Earth get bigger and bigger as they got closer. White clouds moved across the surface like soft blankets. "I still do not understand why they built a school on such a dangerous world," said Vorth. His purple skin had small scales that moved when he was nervous. Right now they were moving a lot. "This planet is listed as a Class 12 Deathworld, the most dangerous type." Professor Yill sat near them. Her body looked like it was made of light and air. She seemed to glow when she was happy. "That is exactly why you are here, young students. You need to learn about humans and how they live." The ship landed at a big spaceport. As soon as the doors opened, the alien students felt strange. The air was thick and heavy. It pressed down on them. Some of them had trouble breathing. Others felt dizzy from the strange mix of gases. A tall human with brown hair walked up to them. He was smiling, which showed his white teeth. "Hello, everyone. My name is Jake. Welcome to Earth. I know it feels weird at first, but you will get used to it soon." Flux was a being made of gas. His body moved like smoke in the wind. He looked worried. "The light from your star is very strong. How do you live without protection from it?" Jake looked up at the bright yellow sun in the sky. He put his hand over his eyes to block the light. "Oh, that's no problem. We just put on sunscreen when we go outside for a long time. Come on, let's go to the school." They got into a large vehicle that moved on wheels. As they drove through the city, the aliens saw things that shocked them. Huge animals walked around, in fenced areas. Humans jogged on paths where the heavy gravity would break the bones of most other species. Signs warned about dangerous things, but humans seemed to ignore them. "Your planet is covered in a liquid," said Keth. His body was made of living rock that changed colors when he talked. "This liquid can dissolve many things. It is very dangerous." "You mean water?" Jake laughed. The sound was loud and happy. "Yeah, we need it to stay alive. Our bodies are mostly made of water, too." The aliens looked at each other with fear. These humans were made of a dangerous liquid that could hurt other beings. What kind of creatures were they? The school was built to help different types of aliens feel comfortable, but it was still on Earth, which meant it was still dangerous. As they walked through the front doors, alarms started making loud noises. The alien students began to panic. They thought something terrible was happening, but the human students just picked up their books and bags calmly. "Just a tornado warning," said Amy. She was a young human with long black hair. "Nothing too bad. The weather people say it's only level 2, so classes might move to the underground rooms." "Only level 2? Zix's crystal body started shaking. "You have different levels for these spinning windstorms?" Amy nodded like this was normal. "Yeah, level 2 is pretty easy to handle. The really scary ones are level 4 and 5. Those can knock down whole neighborhoods." As they walked down to the lower floors, they passed a big room where humans were exercising. A man with thick arms was telling a group what to do. "Okay, everyone, today is an easy day. Just 20 minutes of hard running, then lift weights that are half as heavy as your body." Keth watched in horror as humans chose to hurt themselves on purpose. "They are breaking their muscles and bones by choice. It makes them stronger," explained Dr. Park. She was their human teacher with short blonde hair. "Humans get better when things are hard for them. Their bodies rebuild themselves to be tougher after each challenge." This idea was completely strange to the alien students. Their people tried to avoid anything difficult or painful. They made their worlds safe and easy. But humans seemed to look for trouble and pain on purpose. That evening, they went to eat dinner in the school cafeteria. The food there would have killed most aliens. It was full of things that were poisonous or impossible to digest. "This is called spicy curry," said Ben. He was a human student who worked in the kitchen. "The hot peppers in it cause pain in your mouth, but we have learned to like that feeling." "You eat pain because it feels good?" Vorth's translator machine had trouble understanding this concept. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds strange, Ben said. But yeah, pretty much. We also eat food that has bacteria in it, cheese with mold growing on it, and raw fish that would poison most aliens. The alien students watched as humans ate these dangerous things while talking and laughing. They acted like eating poison was the most normal thing in the world. Later that night, the aliens lay in their special beds thinking about what they had seen. Outside their windows, they could hear strange sounds. Animals calling to each other in the dark. Wind blowing through trees. Rain hitting the building. "This world is trying to kill everything on it," whispered Flux to his roommate. "But the humans don't seem to care," his roommate replied. "They act like it's all normal." "Maybe that's what makes them so different from us," said another voice in the darkness. The aliens were starting to understand that Earth was not just dangerous, it was constantly dangerous, every day, every hour, every minute. This world was testing everything that lived on it. And somehow, humans had not just survived this test, they had learned to enjoy it. As they fell asleep, the alien students wondered what other surprises this strange world and its impossible people would show them. They had come here to study, but they were beginning to realize they might learn things that would change how they saw everything. The sounds of Earth's night continued outside their windows. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled like a giant monster. But the humans sleeping in nearby rooms didn't seem worried at all. They just pulled their blankets up and slept peacefully, as if sleeping next to danger was the most natural thing in the universe. And maybe, for humans, it was. The next morning, the alien students woke up to strange new sounds. Birds were singing outside their windows, but these were not gentle songs. They were loud calls that sounded like warnings or challenges. The aliens had never heard anything like them. Dr. Park stood at the front of their first classroom. She had papers in her hands and a big smile on her face. "Today we will learn about Earth's basic weather and how life deals with it." She pressed a button and pictures appeared on the wall behind her. The first picture showed a huge gray cloud with lightning coming out of it. The aliens jumped back in fear. "This is a thunderstorm," Dr. Park said in a calm voice. "They happen when hot air and cold air meet. The lightning can have millions of volts of electricity. The thunder can be heard from many miles away." Flux started to shake like smoke in the wind. "That is a weapon of mass destruction. How does any life survive such attacks?" "Well, most people just go inside when storms get bad," Dr. Park replied. "Though some folks actually like to watch them. We have people who chase storms for fun." Vorth's purple scales made a rattling sound. "For fun? You seek out these deadly electrical attacks for entertainment?" Before Dr. Park could answer, loud sirens started going off all around the school. The alien students thought they were about to die. They looked around for places to hide or ways to escape. But the human students just started packing up their books slowly. They looked bored, not scared. "Tornado warning," said Amy as she put her notebook in her bag. "Looks like we're moving to the basement for a while. The weather service says it's just an F1, added another human student named Rick. "Probably won't even touch down." "Just an F1? Zix's crystal body flashed with different colors. "You have numbers for these spinning death storms." Rick nodded like he was talking about the weather, which he was. "Yeah, F1 is pretty weak. F5 is when you really need to worry. Those can pick up cars and throw them around like toys." As they walked down to the underground levels, the aliens passed a large room with glass walls. Inside, human students were still doing exercises. A big man with thick muscles was shouting at them. "Come on, people, just because there's a little wind outside doesn't mean we stop training. Give me 50 push-ups." The humans dropped to the floor and began lifting their bodies up and down with just their arms. They were breathing hard and sweating, but they kept going. "They are destroying their own bodies," Keth whispered. His rock-like skin changed to a worried gray color. "Why do they hurt themselves like this?" "Exercise makes humans stronger," explained Dr. Park as she walked with them. "When you damage human muscle just a little bit, it grows back bigger and tougher. Their bones get stronger when they put weight on them. It's how they adapt." This was impossible for most aliens to understand. Every other species in the galaxy tried to avoid damage and pain. They built comfortable worlds where nothing could hurt them. But humans seemed to hurt themselves on purpose to become better. In the basement, the aliens met more human students. One group was sitting around a table playing something called cards. They were laughing and joking while dangerous winds spun above their heads. "Aren't you afraid?" asked Flux. A human girl named Lisa looked up from her cards. "Of the tornado? Nah, the building is solid. Besides, it's probably not even going to hit us. The weather guy said it's moving east." "But what if he is wrong?" Fourth asked. Lisa shrugged. "Then we deal with it. That's life, right?" After an hour, the sirens stopped and everyone went back, upstairs. The aliens expected to see damage and destruction. Instead, everything looked exactly the same. The only sign of the storm was some wet leaves on the ground. "That's it?" asked Zix. "Told you it was just an F1, said Rick as he sat back down at his desk. At lunchtime, the aliens got another shock. The school cafeteria served food that would kill most species in the galaxy. The humans lined up happily to get it. "This is pizza," explained a human student named Tony. "It has cheese that's been heated until it bubbles, tomato sauce with acid in it, and meat that's been processed with salt and chemicals." The aliens watched in horror as Tony took a big bite of the dangerous food mixture. He made a happy sound and smiled. "It's really good today," he said with his mouth full. At another table, a group of humans were eating something even worse. It was bright red and steam was coming off it. "Hot wings," explained Ben from the kitchen. "Chicken cooked in sauce made from peppers that can burn your skin. The hotter the better." One human was sweating and his face was red, but he kept eating. "These are perfect," he said between bites, "just hot enough to hurt." "You are eating something that causes pain," observed Keth. "Yeah, isn't it great?" the human replied, taking another bite. During their afternoon class, Dr. Park showed them more pictures of Earth's wildlife. Each creature looked more dangerous than the last. "This is a grizzly bear," she said, showing a picture of a huge brown animal with long claws. "They can weigh up to 800 pounds and run 35 miles per hour. "Where do you keep these monsters locked up?" asked Forth. "Oh, they just live in the forests," Dr. Park said casually. "People go camping and hiking in bear country all the time. You just have to be careful with your food and make noise so you don't surprise them. People go into the areas where these killing machines live." Flux was having trouble keeping his gaseous form together. "For recreation?" "Sure. The mountains are beautiful. Bears usually avoid humans anyway." She showed them more pictures. Sharks with teeth like knives. Snakes that could kill with one bite. Spiders the size of dinner plates. Each one lived freely on Earth, and humans just accepted them as normal. "This is Australia," Dr. Park said, showing a map. "It's one of our continents. Almost everything there can kill you in some way." "And people live there?" asked Zix. "About 25 million people. They love it. Always talking about how great Australia is." That evening, the aliens sat in their common room trying to understand what they had learned. Outside, they could hear humans playing games in the courtyard. The sounds of laughter and shouting came through the windows. "They live with constant danger," said Vorth. "Every day, every moment, this world is trying to kill them." "But they don't act afraid," added Flux. "They act like it's all normal." "Maybe it is normal," said Keth slowly. "For them." Through the window they could see human students playing something called soccer. They were running around, kicking a ball, and sometimes running into each other. When someone fell down, the others helped them up and they kept playing. "They even make their games dangerous," observed Zix, "and they help each other when someone gets hurt," noted Flux. The aliens were beginning to see a pattern. Humans didn't just survive on their deadly world, they seemed to enjoy the challenge. And when things got difficult, they worked together to help each other. "Tomorrow we go outside the school," said Vorth, reading from their schedule. "Something called a nature walk." The other aliens looked at each other with worry. If this was what humans considered normal life, what would they call nature? Outside their window, thunder rumbled in the distance. The humans in the courtyard looked up at the dark clouds, laughed, and ran inside before the rain started. They were racing the storm and having fun doing it. The aliens went to bed that night with many questions. How did humans become so comfortable with danger? Why did they seem to enjoy challenges that would terrify other species? And what would they discover tomorrow when they ventured into the wild spaces of this impossible world? As rain began to fall against their windows, the alien students tried to sleep, but the sounds of Earth's weather kept them awake, reminding them that they were visitors on a world that never stopped testing everything that lived on it. The third week brought something the aliens had been dreading. Dr. Park announced they would take a trip to what humans called a nature preserve. She said it would be a gentle introduction to Earth's wildlife. Remember to stay on the marked paths, Dr. Park warned as they got on the transport vehicle. Don't touch anything unless I tell you it's safe, and stay together. The aliens looked at each other with fear. If Dr. Park was giving warnings, this place must be extremely dangerous. The nature preserve looked beautiful from a distance. Green trees reached up toward the sky. Colorful flowers grew everywhere. A small river ran through the middle. It looked peaceful and safe. But as soon as they stepped off the transport, the aliens realized this was another Earth trick. Everything that looked pretty was actually deadly. These plants here are called poison ivy, Dr. Park said, pointing to some innocent-looking green leaves. If you touch them, they will give you painful red bumps all over your skin. And you just leave them growing everywhere? Asked Zix. They're part of nature, said their guide, a park ranger named Steve. Most of us have learned to spot them and avoid them, though some people are more sensitive than others. Steve had short brown hair and wore a green uniform. He seemed completely comfortable walking through this field of dangerous plants. Last week I had to treat a visitor who sat on some poison ivy. Poor guy couldn't sit down for 3 days. As they walked down the trail, strange sounds came from all directions. Things crashed through the bushes. Birds made calls that sounded like warnings. Insects buzzed past that were bigger than some alien spacecraft. What was that? Flux asked when something large moved in the trees above them. Probably just a squirrel, Steve said without looking up. They like to jump from branch to branch. Sometimes they fall and bounce right back up. Squirrels are dangerous predators. Fourth's scales started rattling. Steve laughed. No, they're tiny, about this big. He held his hands a few inches apart. They eat nuts and seeds mostly, but they can be pretty aggressive if you get between them and their food. The idea that even the small, harmless animals on Earth were aggressive shocked the aliens. On their worlds, plant eaters were always peaceful and gentle. They came to a small stream where the water looked clean and clear. Dr. Park knelt down beside it to explain how water cycles worked on Earth. This stream feeds into the lake down there. She pointed. Fish live in both the stream and the lake. The water flows all the way to the ocean eventually. Something large moved under the water near where Dr. Park was kneeling. The aliens jumped back in terror. Just a base, Steve said calmly. Pretty good size, too. Probably weighs 4 or 5 pounds. Is it a predator? Asked Keth, his rocky skin turning a worried brown color. Yeah, they eat smaller fish, frogs, insects. But they won't bother you unless you're swimming and accidentally step on one. The casual way Steve talked about predators living in the water amazed the aliens. On most worlds, any body of water with predators would be clearly marked and fenced off. As they continued walking, they met a human family on the trail. A man and woman were hiking with 2 small children. The kids were running ahead, touching plants and picking up rocks. Beautiful day for a hike, called the father, whose name was Greg. His little girl Kate was about 6 years old and was examining something on a tree. Your young offspring are very small, Vorth observed with concern. Are you not worried about all the dangerous creatures in this environment? Greg looked confused for a moment, then smiled. Kate and Sam have been hiking these trails since they could walk. Kids are tougher than you might think. Just then, Kate called out excitedly, Daddy, look, a spider web. The aliens looked and saw a huge spider sitting in the middle of a web, right next to the little girl's face. The spider was big enough to hurt or kill a small human child. That's a garden spider, honey, Greg said calmly. See how pretty her web is? But remember not to touch. Kate studied the spider with fascination instead of fear. She's beautiful, Daddy. Look at all the colors on her back. The alien students couldn't believe what they were seeing. A tiny human child was calmly observing a predator that could easily harm her, and the adult humans were not panicking or pulling her away. We teach them early what's dangerous and what just looks scary, Greg explained to the shocked aliens. Kate knows that spider won't hurt her unless she bothers it, but she also knows to check her shoes for brown recluse spiders before putting them on. You teach your children to live alongside deadly creatures? Asked Flux. Well, yeah, Greg said like this was obvious. They live here too. We share the planet with them. After the family continued on their hike, the alien students stood in stunned silence. Human children, the most vulnerable members of their species, were taught to casually coexist with things that would require military intervention on most worlds. As they walked deeper into the preserve, they saw more examples of Earth's casual hostility. Plants with thorns that could puncture spacesuits, trees so tall they would require engineering permits on other worlds, insects that carried diseases but were considered a normal part of life. This tree is over 300 years old, Steve said, patting the trunk of a massive oak. It's seen hurricanes, droughts, ice storms, everything Earth can throw at it. And it survived all of that? Asked Zix. That's how things work on Earth, Steve replied. If you can't handle the challenges, you don't make it. This old oak has probably been struck by lightning a dozen times. Lightning strikes are survivable? Keth asked in amazement. For trees, usually. They're tougher than they look. Humans too sometimes. I knew a guy who got hit by lightning twice and kept working as a park ranger. The aliens were starting to understand something terrible and wonderful. Earth didn't just have dangerous weather and deadly animals. The very process of living on this world required constant survival. Everything that lived here, from the smallest insect to the largest tree to the humans themselves, had to be strong enough to face daily challenges that would destroy most galactic species. Later that afternoon, they visited what Steve called a wildlife viewing area. Through thick glass windows, they could watch Earth animals in their natural habitat. There's a deer family, Dr. Park pointed out, the mother and her two babies. The aliens expected to see gentle, peaceful creatures. Instead, they watched animals that moved with constant alertness. The mother deer's head snapped up at every sound. Her muscles were tense and ready for action. Even your plant eaters look like warriors, observed Vorth. They have to be, Steve explained. Deer have lots of predators, bears, wolves, mountain lions. Plus they have to deal with harsh winters, diseases, and competition for food. And humans hunt them too, added Dr. Park matter-of-factly. Humans hunt these creatures for food? Asked Flux. Some do. It's regulated, of course. Hunting licenses, specific seasons, bag limits. But yeah, humans have been hunting deer for thousands of years. The idea that humans were also predators in this ecosystem added another layer to the aliens' growing understanding. Humans weren't just victims trying to survive on a hostile world. They were active participants in a system of constant challenge and competition. As the sun began to set, the group prepared to return to the school. But first, Steve wanted to show them one more thing. Listen, he said, holding up his hand for silence. The forest around them was full of sounds, howls in the distance, strange calls from the trees, rustling in the bushes, the sounds of nocturnal predators beginning their hunt. Night shift is starting, Steve said with a grin. Different animals come out after dark. Most are more dangerous than the daytime creatures. And humans stay in this environment during darkness? Asked Zix. Sure. Camping is very popular. Millions of people sleep outside in tents every year. In tents? Vorth's scales were rattling so hard they made a musical sound. Thin fabric shelters, surrounded by nocturnal predators? It's fun, Steve said simply. There's something special about sleeping under the stars, listening to the sounds of the wild. As they rode back to the school, the alien students sat in stunned silence. They had thought they understood how dangerous Earth was. But this trip had revealed something far more profound. Earth wasn't just a world with some dangerous weather and a few deadly animals. It was a world where danger was woven into the very fabric of existence. Every plant, Every animal, every natural process was part of a vast system of challenge and survival. And humans didn't just endure this system, they seemed to thrive in it. They found beauty in its dangers and excitement in its challenges. They taught their children to navigate its hazards and celebrated their ability to survive its tests. No wonder humans are so different from the rest of us, Flux whispered as they watched the lights of the school appear ahead. They're not just survivors, added Keth slowly. They're products of a world that demands everything and gives back strength. That night, as the aliens tried to sleep, they listened to the sounds of Earth's darkness outside their windows. But now those sounds meant something different. They weren't just random noises. They were the symphony of a world that never stopped testing, never stopped challenging, never stopped making everything on it stronger. And somewhere in that symphony, humans had found their place and made it home. By the fourth week, some of the braver alien students wanted to try what humans called normal activities. They had watched from a safe distance long enough. Now they wanted to experience Earth life for themselves. Professor Yill was not happy about this idea. It is too dangerous, she said, her light body flickering with worry. These students are not built for Earth conditions, but Dr. Park convinced her to allow some very mild activities. We'll start with something completely safe, she promised. Just a simple outdoor picnic. Nothing that could hurt anyone. The picnic location was a grassy field next to a small lake. To the alien students, it looked like a death trap waiting to happen. The water could hide predators. The open grass offered no protection from the sky. The trees around the edges could fall down or catch fire. But the human students arrived carrying bags and boxes, laughing and excited about spending time outside. This is going to be great, said Rachel as she spread a blanket on the ground. Perfect weather for volleyball. She pulled out a white ball and tossed it to her friend Mike. Want to play? Mike caught the ball and grinned. Always. Let's set up the net. The aliens watched in fascination as the humans began playing what they called volleyball. They hit the ball back and forth over a net, diving and jumping to keep it in the air. Your people are attacking each other with a projectile, observed Keth, his rocky skin turning a confused purple color. No, we're playing, Rachel called back as she dove to hit the ball. She landed hard on the ground but jumped back up smiling. It's fun. Zix watched as Rachel's skin showed scrapes from hitting the ground. You are injured, but you continue this violent activity. It's just a little scratch, Rachel said, looking at her arm. No big deal. Good game, though. The aliens couldn't understand it. These humans were hurting themselves on purpose and calling it entertainment. They threw their bodies around, crashed into each other, and seemed to enjoy every painful moment. Meanwhile, other humans had started doing something even more dangerous. They were going into the lake. The water temperature is only 65 degrees, noted Vorth, his scales shivering in sympathy. That will cause system failure in most species. Yeah, it's a little chilly today, agreed Tom as he came out of the water. His lips were blue and his skin had bumps all over it, but he was smiling. Perfect for cooling off after volleyball. Though, you entered a liquid environment that could cause death by freezing? Asked Flux. Nah, it's not that cold, Tom said, rubbing his arms to get warm. In winter, we sometimes break holes in the ice to go swimming. Now that's cold. The idea that humans swam in water so cold it had frozen solid made several aliens feel faint. As afternoon turned to evening, the humans began building something that made the aliens very nervous. They gathered sticks and paper and created what they called a campfire. Fire is one of our oldest tools explained Kevin as he arranged the wood carefully. It gives us light, warmth, and a way to cook food. You are creating an uncontrolled combustion reaction, said Keth in horror. That requires hazardous materials permits on every civilized world. Really? Kevin looked surprised as he struck a match and lit the fire. It's just a campfire. We've been doing this for thousands of years. The aliens backed away from the flames while the humans sat down around them like it was the most natural thing in the world. Some of them held food over the fire using metal sticks. This is called roasting marshmallows, explained Jenny. offering a flaming white cube on a stick to Flux. The sugar gets hot and turns brown. It tastes really good. Flux recoiled from the burning food. You consume matter that has been exposed to combustion temperatures? Sure, Jenny said, blowing on her marshmallow to cool it down. We cook lots of stuff over fires. Hot dogs, corn, potatoes. Food tastes better when it's cooked over an open flame. As the sun went down, the true danger of Earth's night became clear. The temperature dropped to levels that would require life support systems on most worlds. Strange sounds came from the darkness as nocturnal predators began to hunt. Swarms of flying insects appeared, some of them carrying diseases, but the humans just put on extra clothes, sprayed themselves with chemical repellent, and kept talking and laughing around their fire. Look at those stars, said Sarah, lying on her back and staring up at the cosmic radiation streaming down from space. You can see the Milky Way tonight. Are you not concerned about radiation exposure? Asked Zix. From starlight? Sarah laughed. No, that's harmless. It's beautiful. The aliens realized that humans found beauty in the very forces that could destroy most species. They saw wonder where others saw danger. Some of the braver alien students decided to try some mild human activities. Flux attempted to play volleyball but couldn't maintain his gaseous form when the ball passed through him. Fourth tried to sit by the fire, but his scales started smoking. Keth managed to wade into the lake, but only for a few seconds before the cold made his rock body start cracking. This is impossible, Fourth said after his third failed attempt to catch the volleyball. How do you make this look so easy? Practice, said Mike as he served the ball. I've been playing since I was little. You learn to move with the ball instead of fighting it. Your species trains for these dangerous activities from childhood? Asked Keth. Well, yeah, Rachel said. Most kids play sports in school. Soccer, baseball, basketball, football. It's how we learn teamwork and stay in shape. The aliens learned that human children regularly participated in activities that would require safety equipment and medical teams on other worlds, and they called it education. As the night continued, more humans joined the picnic. Some came on foot, walking through the darkness like the nocturnal predators didn't bother them. Others arrived on bicycles, pedaling machines that required balance and coordination that most aliens couldn't manage. Sorry we're late, called out Dave as he locked his bicycle to a tree. Had to finish a basketball game. Basketball in the dark? Asked Dr. Park. Indoor court with lights, Dave explained. We played for 3 hours. Great workout. 3 hours of continuous physical activity was beyond the endurance of most galactic species. But Dave looked tired but happy, ready to join the picnic activities. Want to play some night volleyball? Suggested Rachel. We can use the glow sticks for light. The humans began a new game using chemical lights that glowed in the darkness. They continued throwing themselves around, diving for the ball, laughing when they missed difficult shots. They treat physical pain like entertainment, Flux observed to his fellow aliens. And they do it in the dark, surrounded by predators, added Vorth. While sitting next to an open fire, finished Keth. And they call this relaxation, said Zix. The alien students were beginning to understand something profound about humans. They didn't just survive Earth's dangers, they had turned those dangers into opportunities for fun, growth, and connection with each other. When someone got hurt playing volleyball, the others gathered around to help. When the fire started to die down, they worked together to build it back up. When the night got cold, they shared blankets and moved closer to the warmth. You take care of each other, observed Flux. Of course, said Amy, offering him a warm drink. That's what friends do. But you also put each other in danger through these activities. Life is dangerous, said Rachel, as she rubbed a bruise on her knee. At least this way we're having fun and getting stronger while we face the risks. As the evening wound down and the humans began packing up their picnic, the alien students sat quietly thinking about what they had experienced. They had tried to participate in the mildest human recreational activities and found them almost impossible to handle. How do they make it look so easy? Wondered Vorth. Because for them, it is easy, said Professor Yill, who had been watching silently. This is their normal. They have been adapting to these conditions for millions of years. The humans finished cleaning up their picnic area, making sure to leave no trace of their presence. They carefully put out the fire and packed away all their equipment. "Thanks for joining us," Jake said to the alien students as they prepared to leave. "Sorry the activities were too intense. We tried to pick easy ones." The aliens looked at each other in amazement. These had been the easy activities. What did humans consider challenging? As they rode back to the school, the alien students realized they had learned something important. Humans didn't just endure their hostile world. They had learned to find joy in its challenges, strength in its dangers, and community in facing its risks together. And what seemed impossible to every other species in the galaxy was just another fun evening for the children of Earth. The final week of the exchange program brought something that would change how the alien students saw humans forever. Dr. Park had arranged for them to watch a human military training exercise. She said it was not about war or fighting, but about how humans prepared to live in Earth's environment. Sergeant Alex met them at the training area. He was a tall human with strong muscles and kind eyes. "Today you'll see some basic survival training," he said with a smile. "Nothing too hard, just normal preparation for working on Earth." What happened next made the aliens question everything they thought they knew about possible and impossible. They watched humans crawl through mud while explosions went off above their heads. The humans climbed walls twice their height, using only their hands and feet. They carried heavy packs over rough ground for miles without stopping. They swam through cold water in full gear. They jumped from high platforms and rolled when they hit the ground. "This is basic training?" asked Zix, his crystal body flashing with disbelief. "Pretty much," Sergeant Alex replied. "Every soldier needs these skills. We have much harder training for special jobs. Arctic survival, desert operations, underwater work, mountain climbing. Depends on where you might need to go." The aliens learned that humans had not only learned to live on their dangerous world, but they had used that knowledge to prepare for even worse places. They trained for situations that would be considered impossible by galactic standards. During a break, a young soldier named Maria came over to talk with the aliens. "I heard you're from different planets," she said. "What's it like growing up? Somewhere safe?" The question surprised them. They had never thought of their home worlds as particularly safe, just normal. Earth was the strange one, the impossible place where nothing should be able to live. "Our worlds are stable," Flux managed to say. "Controlled weather, managed ecosystems, no dangerous animals." Maria nodded thoughtfully. "That sounds peaceful. But don't you ever wonder what you can do when things get really hard? How strong you really are?" It was a question most of the aliens had never considered. On their worlds, you avoided hard things. You made life comfortable and easy. You solved problems with technology, not by becoming stronger yourself. "We solve difficulties with machines and planning," said Vorth. "That's smart," Maria said. "But what happens when the machines break and the plans don't work? Sometimes you only have yourself to depend on." As the day continued, the aliens saw more examples of human preparation for their world. Medical teams showed how humans could survive injuries that would kill most species. Rescue workers practiced saving people from floods, fires, earthquakes, and storms. "Someone has to help when disasters happen," explained Fire Chief Carol as her team practiced rescuing people from a burning building. "We can't just leave people in danger." "You have people whose job is to run toward catastrophes?" asked Keth. "Someone has to," Carol said simply. "People need help, so we help them." The aliens were amazed. Not only did humans survive on their deadly world, but they had organized their society around helping each other survive. When disaster struck, instead of running away, some humans ran toward the danger to help others. Late in the afternoon, they met a group of humans who did something even more incredible. They were called search and rescue workers, and their job was to find people who got lost in Earth's wilderness. "Last week we pulled a hiker out of a mountain crevice," said rescue worker Dan. "Week before that we found a family whose boat sank in a storm. It's dangerous work, but someone has to do it." "You risk your lives to save strangers?" asked Flux. "They're not strangers," Dan replied. "They're people, Doesn't matter if I know them or not. The concept was difficult for many alien species to understand. Most civilizations helped their own families or tribes, but humans seemed to feel responsible for helping anyone in need, even at great personal risk. That evening, the human and alien students gathered for a goodbye party. The humans had prepared what they called a barbecue, which involved more controlled fire and food that would challenge most digestive systems. "We're going to miss having you here," said Amy as she helped serve food. "It's been amazing learning about your worlds and cultures." "You have taught us far more than we have taught you," replied Zix. "We came here thinking humans were unlucky to live on such a dangerous world." "And now?" asked Jake. "Now we understand that your world did not make you victims," said Keth slowly. "It made you into something special." As the evening continued, stories were shared between the species. The aliens talked about their advanced technology, their peaceful societies, their comfortable worlds where nothing ever threatened them. The humans listened with genuine interest and respect. But when the humans shared their stories, the aliens began to understand the difference between surviving and thriving. Rick talked about the time he got caught in a blizzard while hiking and had to build a shelter out of snow to survive the night. Lisa described helping rescue neighbors during a flood. Tom told about the earthquake that hit his city and how everyone worked together to help people trapped in buildings. These were not stories of professional heroes or trained soldiers. These were ordinary humans who had faced deadly situations and found ways to survive, help others, and even find meaning in the struggle. "We don't think of ourselves as special," said Rachel when one of the aliens called humans brave. "This is just life on Earth. You deal with problems as they come." "But you do more than deal with them," observed Vorth. "You help others deal with them too." "Well, yeah," said Mike. "What else would you do? Leave people to suffer alone?" The simple question revealed something profound about human nature. Living on a world that constantly tested them had not made humans selfish or cruel. Instead, it had taught them the value of cooperation, compassion, and mutual support. The next morning, as the alien students prepared to leave Earth, they gathered their belongings and their new understanding of what it meant to be human. "Will you tell others about what you learned here?" asked Dr. Park as she helped them prepare for departure. "Oh yes," said Keth, his rock body glowing with determination. "We will tell them about the humans who live on the Deathworld, not because they have to, but because they have made it their home. We will tell them about the species that found beauty in danger and strength in struggle," added Flux. "We will tell them about people who face impossible challenges and then help others face them too," said Vorth. "We will tell them about humans," finished Zix. As their transport ship lifted off from Earth's surface, the alien students pressed against the windows for one last look at the blue and green world below. They could see storm clouds gathering over one continent, snow covering another, and desert stretching across a third. "No wonder they're so different from the rest of us," said Flux quietly. "They didn't just learn to survive their world," said Keth. "They learned to love it, and they learned to take care of each other while they lived on it," added Vorth. "That might be the most important thing of all," said Zix. The alien students returned to their home worlds as changed beings. They had come to Earth expecting to study an interesting anomaly in galactic civilization. Instead, they had discovered something far more important. They had learned that strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with courage and compassion. They had seen that the most difficult environments could produce the most remarkable people. They had witnessed what happens when a species chooses to help rather than harm, to build rather than destroy, to face the impossible and make it possible. In the months and years that followed, the story of their visit to Earth spread throughout the galaxy. Other species began to look at humans with new respect and understanding. The Deathworld was no longer seen as a place of victims struggling to survive. It was recognized as the home of heroes who had chosen to thrive. And in the vast cosmos of the galaxy, where most species had evolved in comfort and safety, the humans stood as proof that the greatest strength comes not from having an easy life, but from facing a hard one with an open heart and helping hands. The children of Earth had taught the galaxy what it truly meant to be alive.